What's up, wrestling fans? It's your boy E here. Hope you guys had an amazing weekend. I know I did. If y'all had to work during the weekend, I apologize, and that really, really sucks. But you're making a difference in this world. You're providing stability for, whoever you're working for, either yourself, your family, your kids, maybe a dog, maybe a pet hamster, who complains about why does the water bill keep going on? Like, you're like, you know what, hamster? You're living with me, so you're living under my rules now. No, I'm just kidding. No. But anyways, love to see you all back. Thank you for tuning into the GSMC Wrestling Laureate Podcast, brought to you by the GSMC Sports Network. We have a great show for you today. We're going to talk about our WWE Smackdown review. Just kind of going over what happened in the draft, superstars they picked, some superstars that Raw picked, and we're going to segue into Monday Night Raw preview, which is happening as we speak. It already aired on the East Coast, but like I said before, I give you guys my word, Scout's honor, that I have not looked at a single shred of wrestling news. So you could probably tell by my ridiculous picks that I'm going to make, because my show last week on Friday, where I did kind of like a mock draft for SmackDown and Raw. So it turns out that I'm an idiot. I'm just kidding. Like, I don't know, it was completely crazy. But then again, like as a wrestling fan, I kind of like that. I kind of like how for me, I was like, you know what? Maybe I know wrestling good enough to predict, what's going to happen. But ultimately, like, it didn't happen. So wrestling is unpredictable. So in a way, I'm happy. So I thought it was pretty cool. And then we're going to kind of segue into my third segment. We're going to talk about just the list of wrestlers that are drafted so far as of the end of SmackDown. We're going to run through SmackDown superstars, new Raw superstars, and we're going to go through some storylines, potential storylines. And I'm going to, basically say if I'm going to buy them, I'm going to sell them, or if I'm just going to, kind of hold on it so we can, we can go through that. And fourth and finally, we're going to talk about former WWE SmackDown and Raw general managers. Honestly, I kind of like the angle that WWE is going with right now with Adam Pearce and Nick Aldis kind of not really asserting themselves into the storylines in WWE, because in the past, like with like Stephanie McMahon, John Laurinaitis, Eric Bischoff, Paul Heyman, like they're all great general managers in their time. And I know back then the product was different, but I really like how they're not inserting themselves into, like, they're kind of just taking a step back and they're letting the superstars kind of do their own thing. Kind of like what Paul Levesque was saying, how he's not going to be like a Vince. Like, he's not going to come and like start a feud with somebody. Like, he did that stuff with the Authority back with like Seth Rollins and stuff like that. But I can guarantee you 1010% that that is not, the future of wrestling anymore. And I dig it. And I think it's super, super awesome. Well, before we jump into anything in terms of WWE wrestling, I want to remind you guys to use the tips and donations link. We get a number of questions that come in from viewers during the show. So to ensure that your question gets read on air, I ask you to use the tips and donations link at the gsmcpodcast.net with your questions. Just put your questions up on top of the list so I can see it. Tell me what you like. Tell me what you don't like. Tell me what you want to talk about. You as the audience, y'all have the power. You know what I mean? Like, so don't be afraid to click that gsmcpodcast.net. Share your opinions, share some questions, or just tell me how funny my hair looks tonight. Having a real bad hair day. Jeez Louise, right in front of you guys. No, I'm just kidding. I know you guys still love me. I know you guys think I'm handsome as hell. But again, the link is the GSMC podcast.net. So let's get into this GSMC Wrestling Laureate podcast. We're going to talk about our WWE SmackDown review. To be honest, this was one of the SmackDowns that I was like super excited to see. Like, I had really high anticipation, high hopes. I had great hopes for this show, and it didn't disappoint. I was in 1010% like satisfied as a wrestling fan. I was satisfied as a human being. Overall, it was good. Very, very good. All right, so SmackDown kicked off kind of the way I thought it was going to be. So a Raw Roman Reigns voluntarily bouts out of the WWE Draft. I kind of knew from the get-go, after all things that's going on with him in terms of like his health and his leukemia, and right now he's shooting a movie in like Hollywood, kind of trying out his acting legs a little bit. So honestly, I don't think Roman Reigns is going to come back. Now, I don't even think he's going to come back for SummerSlam. I kind of, and depicted that The Rock is going to stop filming his movie around August, and also Roman Reigns. So I kind of thought of like, something like sort of like a civil war between the bloodline. But honestly, I don't think that's really going to happen. I don't think that's going to set stage for probably, honestly, next Mania. Next WrestleMania, you're going to see something big happen. Roughly like around the same time The Rock came out to confront Cody Rhodes. That's going to be like the same timeline of how they're going to build up this bloodline civil war, which is, pretty cool. Something to anticipate. Definitely something to, get into. So make sure you watch Raw and SmackDown every week, even NXT. So, yeah. So, it's crazy because they were kind of making a big deal about this new Paul Levesque error. And believe me, it is a big deal. I'm not trying to shorthand it at all, or I'm not trying to understudy it, but I'm just like, this is honestly, it is pretty big. This is the first two drafts in a new era of WWE. And so, champions were protected. So I thought that was pretty cool. Cody Rhodes made the first pick, and I kind of like that as well. A lot of people thought like maybe it was like a little cheesy to kind of have superstars come out or like former like legendary, superstars. But honestly, I kind of liked it. I kind of liked it how it kind of created like a sense of realism and an entertainment factor kind of thing. And I don't know, it just left you on the edge of anticipation of who's going to be selected, who's going to be picked, and the moment you see their name pop up on the screen, you automatically start, circling in your mind like, how are they going to fit in there? Oh, that would be a good challenger to fight Logan Paul. Or man, Bianca Belair would totally kill Becky Lynch right now for the WWE World Women's Champion. So yeah, and then you also had the contract signing. AJ Styles pays respects to Dusty Rhodes, which I feel like is like kind of like a must at this point in terms of like wrestlers fighting Cody. Like you kind of have to realize like the man Dusty Rhodes, the American Dream, and everything like that. So I thought that was pretty cool. And honestly, what Cody Rhodes brought up about parallel paths, and it's true. AJ Styles was outside of the WWE, had to kind of get popularity before he came back. Like I said before in one of my shorts, when they signed AJ Styles, Vince McMahon had no idea who AJ Styles was, and that's like crazy, absolutely nuts. And Cody Rhodes was released by WWE, had to go around fight in Ring of Honor. He had to fight in the, Global Force Wrestling we were talking about last podcast. And also, AEW. He helped find it. He found AEW. He helped build it up to like what it is. Well, kind of what it was, because I feel like it's kind of declining. But basically, Cody Rhodes is like the Swiss Army knife of independent wrestling at its best because he came back and he just came back I don't want to say refurbished because it sounds like I'm talking about a new car, but he came back, he reinvented himself in the wrestling world, which is extremely hard to do. A lot of people usually have their 15 minutes of fame and it's done. WWE can like kind of cast you out and set you aside, but Cody didn't accept that. Like he went out and he actually like he got better. He got a hell of a lot better. He reinvented himself and he came back and WWE wanted him and now he's one of the top guys. So that just shows if something doesn't work out, just keep working hard, keep doing your thing, and it'll make for a better and brighter future. So I don't know who I'm speaking to right now. If you guys are kind of down or something like that, and you're like, oh man, what should I do next? It's like, dude, you got this. You got this. I'm not trying to be like a one of those hype man or whatever. I'm no like what is it? What was it? Oh, who's the guy who used to do the exercise? Richard Simmons, where like he do the exercise videos. He's like, come on, guys. Like I'm not one of those guys, but follow your dreams, man. And so let's go ahead and get on starter. Triple H came out and greet Cody Rhodes. Cody Rhodes is staying on SmackDown, obviously. So Cody Rhodes, with the first pick of the SmackDown draft, picked the EST Bianca Belair, which was awesome. Honestly, great pick. Great pick. I'm so happy that Bianca got that pick. She deserves it. And the second pick was Carmelo Hayes. Super awesome guy. Like I said, I'm not going to get too further into details in their future with SmackDown. My next segment's going to be about that. So stick around. And also they picked Randy Orton as well and Nia Jax. It was pretty good first round. Pretty good first round. And Raw for their first round, they picked the main event Jey Uso. They had Seth Rollins, Braun Breaker, and they also got Liv Morgan, which I thought it was kind of funny how like under Liv Morgan's her accomplishments it said defeated Ronda Rousey. And it's that's cool and all, but like if Ronda Rousey isn't gonna make it back to the WWE, why does it matter? No, I'm just kidding. No, like of course, like something like that, that's cool to talk about. That's cool to kind of have under your belt. But ultimately, I thought that was kind of, I thought that was kind of funny. And then now we have this, we have another round, and then Bubba Ray Dudley and Devon came out and I was shocked. I was shocked that SmackDown drafted the LA Knight. I really was. And honestly, I kind of was hoping that LA Knight was going to feud with Sami Zayn because I feel like those two are amazing competitors. They can get it done in the ring. Like even if they're not like those top tier like main event like card kind of guys, they can still bust their ass in the ring and create for some highly anticipated like drama. Great match. Intercontinental Championship match is the belt is going to become prestigious under Sami Zayn. It's going to be amazing. So I thought that was super cool. Also, we have the Bloodline staying on SmackDown, kind of obvious. And then Raw drafted Ricochet, which kind of made me like, it's kind of tilt my head a little bit. I was like, I think Ricochet is mostly going to find his success in WWE Speed on Twitter because they said WWE Speed participants are like basically like they can go to either show. They can come from either show. So I don't know if they, more or less just want to keep because I feel like Ricochet is like the future of WWE Speed because he deserves it and he hasn't really gotten a shot ever since he lost his Intercontinental Championship to Gunther. But honestly, I'm happy with this pick. Ricochet's electric, and he's gonna make it better. He's every single show you're gonna anticipate seeing Ricochet on there, which is cool because he gets to stay with his with his girlfriend, so that's cool. Next week, and they drafted Sheamus. Sheamus, it was kind of a little bit shocking to me because I thought for sure like they would have picked Ilya Dragunov before, but I think they might be saving it for tonight's show. Like I said, I have not watched the show, so Scout's honor. Me and you were in this boat together. Or if you guys watched Raw and you're like, oh, let's see what this idiot has to say about it. Just gonna, don't just don't send in the chat the draft picks. Please don't. Please don't. And that wasn't like an oblivion, like a on the DL hint for you guys to send like chats about the draft. Okay, let's just move on. So like I said, we'll get more into the draft in my next segment. But also you saw Teddy Long and JBL came out, which was pretty badass. AJ Styles was drafted to SmackDown as well as Andrade. Also, you saw Alpha Academy and Kiana James. Kiana James was one of the huge shockers of the night for Monday Night Raw, being drafted from WWE NXT. So I thought that was pretty cool. Um, all in all, good draft. Good draft. So talking about the show, so when Carmelo Hayes got drafted to SmackDown, he came in and automatically challenged the American Nightmare, Cody Rhodes, which was pretty badass. I thought that was super cool how he came in. Everybody kind of thought he was a little downtrodden because, what happened between him and Trick Williams. But he went out there. He actually went toe to toe with the American Nightmare, the undisputed WWE champion, and he did really good. He did really good. Absolutely. The match was like sick. So there's no doubt in my mind that he's definitely going to be him. He's going to be him. And I know that might sound a little cheesy, but I definitely think 110% that, within a year, he's definitely going to be one of the guys. So, it's going to be interesting to see what happens with that. Next, we're going to talk about the LWO versus the Legado del Fantasma. So, Carlito has been confirmed to be Dragon Lee's attacker. I kind of saw this coming. I kind of thought it'd be kind of cool. Carlito ran off, and everyone was kind of like, "Oh, what? Like, why? Like, why did he do that?" Like, I know for a fact I was like, there's was speculations and articles say that he basically wanted to be the other member in the LWO, so he was like taking people out, which is kind of like a cop out, but it makes sense. That's kind of like the go-to storyline. So I thought that was pretty cool. And then what I did not want to happen happened. Braun Breaker in his first match on in WWE. Well, not his first match in WWE main card, but like on the draft, kind of circumstances and purposes, was a squash match, which was terrible. I didn't like that at all. Next, we had Tiffany versus Naomi. It was a good match. It was a great match. Obviously, now Bayley finds herself looking at a triple threat match between the ladies because obviously they couldn't do what it took to like stay within the boundaries of the rules. And to be honest, I love seeing Bayley as a babyface. I don't know if anybody disagrees with me. Of course, if you do, hit the tips and donations link at the GSMC podcast.net. But I like seeing her as a babyface. She wasn't that great as a heel. I thought her mic skills were a little subpar. Like she basically did enough just to kind of piss people off to like create that heel role and also antagonize other women's superstars. But to be honest, you can tell by Bayley's role back as a face, she likes it. She enjoys it. So thus the wrestling fans enjoy watching the storyline unfold. So to be honest, I'm super excited that Bayley is back on the face train. So honest, definitely better than a heel. I kind of would not want to see that happening anytime soon. So, anyways. So next you kind of had you saw Tori Wilson and Michelle McCool make an appearance, which was badass. Um Heyman and Solo. You could tell like when Paul Heyman brings like you just this bloodline like drama is like crazy. It's like watching a reality show. It's like the Real Housewives in Atlanta. I'm just kidding, no, but you could tell when Paul Heyman brings up Roman Reigns' name that Solo Sikoa gets really really upset, along with his because I feel like he wants to be the next tribal chief, but you can't just assume the role of being tribal chief. You kind of have to be the fitting part. You kind of have to pay your dues. And Solo Sikoa hasn't paid crap. He hasn't done anything in his career thus far in the WWE besides costing Cody Rhodes at WrestleMania 39 and beating John Cena. But ever since then, he's been a giant loser. So why do we want to put this guy on top where Roman Reigns level kind of was? And I think that's kind of what Paul Levesque is like, kind of like, he's a little, you know, he doesn't want to do it right away. He kind of wants to test the waters a little bit to find out what this is all about. If Solo could actually get people behind his side and ultimately kind of like not be the brand, because it feels like ever since Roman Reigns was on the bloodline, if you assume that tribal chief role in the bloodline, you automatically become face of the show like Roman was. But I don't know, it's gonna be interesting to see how they kind of play this out. So, like I said, nobody knows what they're getting into when they draft the bloodline. That's kind of, was the main reason I think, Nick Aldis drafted them. Also, Kevin Owens came out totally pissed off, totally cool. And it's also been confirmed that Jade Cargill and Bianca Belair to fight the Kabuki Warriors at I feel like they're going to start the feud at SummerSlam, and I know it hasn't been. We don't know if Jade has been drafted yet to Friday Night SmackDown, but honestly, I think it'd be good if she does. And like I've mentioned this before in terms of I know, and I'm kind of running out of time here. Like I mentioned this before with the WWE tag team in terms of the men's division. Like in the women's division, when you have two top single challengers like Jade Cargill and Bianca Belair, like it'd be cool to see them tag team and totally do their thing. Yeah, cool. But honestly, they need to pit them against each other. They really honestly do. They need to challenge the Kabuki Warriors for the number one contendership for the WWE World Women's Tag Team titles. And ultimately, I think they should lose due to interference with Dakota Kai and Io Sky. And ultimately, I think one of them rages out, turns on the other, creating a feud that they can kind of pin them against each other at SummerSlam. So that would be pretty badass. That'd be pretty badass, to be honest. All right, and I thought it was kind of cool how Kevin Owens and Tama Tonga, like they were fighting in the back. Everybody was like, "Okay, cool, we have a backstage brawl. This is gonna be dope." And then like they randomly fight their way back into the ring. I was like, "What? Like, why? Why is this happening? Why didn't you just stay backstage?" But that's the attitude era guy in me, so that's never gonna change. Randy Orton came out. He saved Kevin Owens. And like I said before, it's hard to really anticipate Solo Sikoa's career kind of skyrocketing because of his past matchups. I think his credibility is lost, and I just think he's a loser. He hasn't won any main matches. He hasn't really done anything under the main card. But and I'm not dogging on Solo Sikoa, dog, not at all. And honestly, with him as the tribal chief, I feel like I'm not gonna be able to take the bloodline too seriously, like in terms of Roman Reigns and stuff like that. And I know Roman Reigns has some hard shoes to fill, and it would never ever be the same with the bloodline. But Solo Sikoa, I don't take him seriously. I honestly don't. I think out of right now the bloodline, the best person is Paul Heyman, and that's crazy. absolutely nuts. So they're gonna have to do a lot of work in terms of getting the fans behind this WWE Bloodline role. So definitely. So they said, obviously Tiffany Stratton and Naomi with the Nia Jax interference. Nia Jax newly on the SmackDown roster. Nick Aldis feeling pretty confident, and now you kind of have that triple threat match: Bayley versus Tiffany Stratton versus Naomi, and now you're going to have the Bloodline versus Kevin Owens and Randy Orton. So, I think that's going to be a nice little match to see at WWE SummerSlam. So, hey guys, don't go anywhere. Next, we have our Monday Night Raw preview where we're going to get into the show. We're also going to talk about the draft. I'm going to do a little mock draft for the last night two of the WWE Draft. So, like I said before, I haven't watched anything. So, hey, don't go anywhere.
I feel like I'm losing my mind. Is everybody in the world blind? Please, Lord, give me a sign, a sign. I feel like I'm losing my mind. Is everybody in the world blind? Please, Lord, give me a sign, a sign. I wanna be the greatest. Everybody on the fake shit. I look around and feel like everybody is the fakest. I make this every day and I'm impatient, hoping one day I blow up from the basement. Statement, the top is so vacant. I don't hear shit that I think is amazing. Waiting for my day when I'm playing sold out shows for 1,000 faces. Hey, give me that crown, get in my way and to be put down. It ain't your place, all this my town. If I want that shit, then I'll get it right now. I'm losing it, the noose it fits, some losing shit, a stupid myth. You choose to live or choose to dip, you choose to fight or lose your grip and lose a gift. I feel like I'm losing my mind. Is everybody in the world blind? Please, Lord, give me a sign, a sign. I feel like I'm losing my mind. Is everybody in the world blind?
All right, all right, all right. Welcome back to the GSMC Wrestling Laureate Podcast, brought to you by the GSMC Sports Network. Just kind of reflect on what we talked about real quick. Segment one, we talked about WWE SmackDown. We reviewed that. Also, the draft picks, the show in general. So, yeah, let's not, waste any more time here. Well, before I move on to my next segment, we're going to talk about our tips and donations link. We get a number of questions from viewers like you that come in during the show. So to ensure that your question gets read on air, I urge you guys to use the tips and donations link at the gsmcpodcast.net with your questions. Just put your questions up on top so I can see it, so we can, we can talk about it. Tell me what you like. Tell me what you don't like. Tell me what you guys want to hear. Tell me what you guys want to talk about. Absolutely 110%. The show's better with a little audience engagement, 110%. So you remember to use that link. Again, the link is at the GSMC, podcast.net with your questions. So, yeah, all right, let's go ahead and get right on into this. We're going to talk about our WWE Monday Night Raw preview. So, wasting little time, we have the Raw tonight is going to be broadcasted live at the T-Mobile Center in Kansas City, Missouri. This is also the last night of the WWE Draft. Rosters lock May 6th. And, you just kind of get into this really quick. Since they do lock on May 6th, I think it's next week. Honestly, I feel like within these next two episodes of Raw and SmackDown, I feel like there's going to be maybe a title change, perhaps. I believe that there might be just something different. I feel like maybe they view that keeping some guy on this show would be a better for the entertainment factor. It kind of feels like that they might be going toward more of either the United States champion for Logan Paul. I doubt he's going to lose it. And obviously, I don't know if Cody Rhodes is going to lose it at Backlash, but I know AJ Styles, took to social media and he said they said champions are protected and they kept them on SmackDown. And I know there's been speculation that his contract is up, but I think this confirms him signing again with the WWE, which is super super exciting. So, like I said before, I think something big is going to happen. I don't know if they make that change with the Kabuki Warriors becoming World Women's Tag Team Champions, or if someone on NXT, loses their championship and winds up like Roxanne Perez if she loses her championship. But no, I don't think she's fighting on Spring Break in night two. She's currently at the moment. Um, so, like I said before, I feel like there's going to be something that happens in terms of the championship belts. could be like, like in the NFL draft where there could be trades and stuff like that, which, it's highly unlikely. But hey, honestly, the WWE draft this year tried really hard to kind of mimic the style of the NFL draft because the NFL draft is so exciting in terms of the football fans, NFL fans, college football fans, just football fans in general. And, because when you watch the draft, you're excited. You don't know who they're gonna pick. It's just like you on the edge of your seat. The surprising factor is like, it's something that can't be mimicked, or something like an emotion that can't be duplicated. It's something that like you have to kind of feel moment of entry, the moment something happens, and you're like, like, so that's, I think, feel like a main reason why they kind of wanted to kind of make it seem like, but not entirely like the NFL draft. So I don't know, just getting on into it. Logan Paul is set to return to the red brand tonight. I'm kind of interested to see what he addresses with the WWE with that universe. So, and also the new superstars that are signed to WWE Raw. Of course, Logan Paul and also the Smackdown stars are going to be gunning after him. Intercontinental Champion is going to stay on Raw. So I don't know. It's going to be kind of interesting to see like why they would really kind of put him, against somebody on Raw. But I just think that it's going to kind of build up to things heading toward Backlash. Right now, he does not have a challenger. So should be pretty interesting to see what happens tonight. Can't wait to see it. Can't wait to see it. Next, we have Becky Lynch making an appearance the first time on Raw after becoming the WWE World Women's Champion. CM Punk is expected to be at the show. It's going to be crazy to see when Drew McIntyre and CM Punk become they face to face. So that's definitely something that's going to build up towards SummerSlam. We have a big tag team match. We have a 6-man tag team match between Jey Uso, Ricochet, and Andrade versus the Judgment Day. And honestly, guys, I think this is it. I think this is it for the Judgment Day. It's going to be Finn Balor, Damian Priest, JD McDonough against these three superstars that are so over with the WWE right now. Obviously, they're not going to lose, and I think Damian Priest is going to be left in a position where he's going to be vulnerable, and I think Finn Balor kind of takes over as like the head honcho, so to speak, for the Judgment Day. So I don't know. It should be pretty interesting to find out what happens on tonight's show. So yeah. So I think this, if I was a WWE writer and if I kind of wanted to kind of tease Damian Priest fighting Finn Balor at SummerSlam, honestly, I think, but it might be too early to break him up. I'm thinking maybe perhaps Backlash. I think maybe perhaps Backlash would be, ideal. But that's just me. That's just me. Okay, so without further ado, let's go ahead and talk about our mock draft. Obviously a lot of stuff going down, and I don't know. I think tonight's draft is probably going to be better than the one they had on SmackDown, just basically because I noticed that a lot of NXT stars were barely called up, and I thought that was a little upsetting. They were kind of sitting in their chairs waiting to be drafted. Kind of makes me think that I think where people think of NXT as as a demotion. But hey, let's kind of move on here. First, we're gonna talk about Raw does get the first pick, so that's pretty cool. I have a list of wrestlers right here, that could be drafted tonight. I think, oh man, this is gonna be hard. I think they're going to go with. I think they're going to go with the obvious here, and I think they're going to go with CM Punk. They want to keep CM Punk on Raw. I honestly thought it would be kind of cool to see CM Punk on NXT because I know he's done a lot of work back in the locker room with these superstars. So like him going over there is not like really like completely like a foreign idea, but it's more like I don't know. I feel like CM Punk belongs on Monday Night Raw if he's not going to NXT. He doesn't really have any he doesn't really have any position on SmackDown. So honestly, I think he's going to go to the red brand. All right, so we got SmackDown. SmackDown right now. I feel like, oh man, I don't think that they would choose that, but Honestly, I'm gonna go with I'm oh man, but I'm gonna switch it up here. I'm gonna go with Imperium. I think right now they already kind of seen the Gunther and Sami Zayn show. They've already seen the Gunther and Chad Gable show, and I think they're kind of going to save Monday Night Raw for like this new Chad Gable and Sami Zayn kind of rivalry that's going to be going down. So I feel like they're definitely going to groom Gunther up to. I honestly doubt he's going to fight Logan Paul. But perhaps maybe fighting Cody Rhodes at SummerSlam. That would be an amazing opponent. If Cody Rhodes isn't fighting The Rock, or Roman Reigns at SummerSlam. Honestly, the person you want to see him fight against more is definitely Gunther. So I think they start that feud as soon as possible. So yeah, next week, okay, Monday Night Raw is on the clock. Um, I they did no I think they're gonna stay with. They're gonna pick Judgment Day. They're gonna pick Judgment Day. Judgment Day is going to stay on Raw. Absolutely, 110%. They're gonna stay on Raw. There's no way in hell they're gonna go to SmackDown because they've been on Raw for so long, and it would just make no sense. They really have no place in SmackDown. Kind of like a CM Punk thing. Like they weren't really jumping shows constantly, and they stayed true to the red brand for the longest time. So no doubt in my mind, the Judgment Day is going to stay on Monday Night Raw. Next we have SmackDown. SmackDown. I think this is um, when they're going to draft Jade Cargill, and either begin this WWE Women's World Tag Team run between her and Bianca Belair, which honestly, but in my opinion, honestly, I wouldn't like to see. But I hope in the long run they're kind of heading for, maybe they do put the belts on them. Maybe they do, and perhaps they lose in a match where and then Belair and their Jade's emotions kind of get the best of them, and then feuding and fighting and stuff like that. So honestly, that would be a pretty good storyline. I would love to see that. So yeah, and the next week, okay, we're on Monday Night Raw. What time is okay? Honestly, I think Raw. Choo, 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 choo. I'm gonna go kind of off the grid here. I think they're going to draft the New Day. I think they're gonna draft the New Day. You need a reliable WWE tag team on the roster that gets people excited constantly. You need competitors that are gonna fight the Awesome Truth for their next tag team titles. Obviously, you kind of saw DIY lose last week, and you saw Tommaso Ciampa clearly frustrated and refused to shake the Miz's hand, maybe kind of heading for like a heel kind of turn. I really hope they don't break up DIY. I really honestly don't, because Johnny Gargano and Tommaso Ciampa together it's magic. It's magic. Even when they had that feud where they were still together, but they were working together, but against opposite sides of the ring, and it was great. It was it was amazing. So honestly, I can see them kind of staying over there. That kind of gives away my next pick for Raw, but SmackDown, SmackDown on the clock. I think Kevin Owens. They're gonna keep Kevin Owens on the show mostly because he pisses off the bloodline, and this is something that's gonna create like perhaps I don't know. I'm really excited to see this new age in the Paul Levesque era of wrestling, because it's just all these new superstars and all these like kind of like mid main cards in the WWE, like Sami Zayn, kind of like Finn Balor, which recently, he's been demoted within the last like 3 or 4 years. You saw Damian Priest winning the World Heavyweight Championship, and I'm not diminishing them, saying like they're not main card, because they have potential to be main event wrestlers, absolutely 110%. And then now you have Kevin Owens. Kevin Owens has been, up and down throughout the industry. He was once the Universal Champion, but a lot of people knew that that wasn't going to last. 1,010%. We knew that he was not going to last as the WWE Universal Champion. They were just trying to find a formidable opponent to dethrone him. And it was kind of weird that it was Goldberg, but, that was Vince McMahon writing. So, let's move on. Sometimes build a bridge, get over it, helps you move on. You can't, what is the old saying goes? You can't drive forward looking at the rear view mirror. You kind of have to look ahead. So, yeah. All right. Raw, and this is going to be my last pick because we're running out of time. I feel like I said, you have the Judgment Day right now. They're kind of going to be the bad guys, and I drafted CM Punk, so of course you're going to see Drew McIntyre stay on the red brand, and not surprising at all. I like Drew McIntyre, like he's kind of heading for that heel slash not babyface, but kind of like that guy that's just out there to kind of go for his own thing, have his own, agenda, have his own ambitions and stuff like that. And if it pisses people off, cool. If it makes people happy, then cool. And of course, you recently saw him on Monday Night Raw talking with Sheamus, kind of hinting at like maybe potentially maybe like a feud with him. So I don't know. I just think it fits better to keep Drew McIntyre on the red brand. But like I said, like my last draft didn't go well, so I'm hoping this draft goes pretty well. I'm hoping that a lot of people would, you know, kind of, don't think I'm an idiot. But okay, so we have our last draft. We have our last draft pick, and it's kind of weird how they listed the Pride, Bobby Lashley, Street Profits, and BFAB as like one whole entity. But it's crazy because the Street Profits, well, no, they're not champions yet. I'm all counting my ducks before they hatch. But honestly, I think they're going to draft, and I know I'm taking a lot of time here. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I think they're going to draft definitely 110%. And this is like pretty wild. I think they're going to draft. Oh God, this is terrible. This is terrible. I'm gonna say they're gonna draft Bronson Reed. Bronson Reed. A lot of people, Bronson Reed, he's the next one in line for the, he even told Chad Gable and he also told Sami Zayn that he's going to be the next one in line for the WWE Intercontinental Champion. So there goes my mock draft tonight. On Friday night, it was absolutely 110% disastrous. So, hopefully it gets better. Hopefully hopefully, I'm not too far off the ball here. But hey, that's wrestling. That's what makes it unpredictable. And honestly, I'd rather be completely wrong than absolutely on the tee, predictable and right. So, I don't know if that's my, anticipation and my, feeling toward it. All right, well, next, we're going to talk about the WWE drafted stars that's been drafted already to run on Smackdown. And I'm going to go through maybe potential rumored storylines. And I'm either, we've done this before, where I'm a WWE creative official. If the storyline seems really appealing, I'm going to buy it. If I don't like it, I'm going to sell it. If it needs a little more time to brew, then I'm going to hold it. So, hey, don't go anywhere.
Looking for your daily fix of sports talk without having to pay for it? GSMC Sports Network is available on YouTube. Just search GSMC Sports Network. Get your fix of daily sports talk shows on YouTube, absolutely free. NFL, college football, NBA, MLB, MMA, UFC, fantasy football, and so much more. GSMC Sports Network has shows running all day long, with new sports shows starting every 2 hours. Just like on your favorite cable sports channel, except GSMC Sports Network is absolutely free. Just search GSMC Sports Network on YouTube to catch one of your new favorite shows, like the GSMC College Football Podcast, Chip Shot Football Podcast, Hoops and Heels Women's Sports Podcast, GSMC Basketball Podcast, and so many more. Check it out for yourself. GSMC Sports Network, now available on YouTube absolutely free. Search GSMC Sports Network on YouTube right now.
All right. Welcome back to the GSMC Wrestling Laureate Podcast, brought to you by the GSMC Sports Network. We'll talk about what we talked about. It sounds kind of weird. Segment one, we talked about our WWE Smackdown review. We talked about our WWE Raw preview. And now we're going to go more into the draft and kind of where some of these, superstars kind of wound up. And let's see if technology is going to be my friend tonight. And all right, awesome, perfect. So, oh no, didn't want to do that. Okay, let's do this. Once again, this is my segment of... Oh, I knew there was something that had to be... dang you, OBS. Dang you. So, buy, sell, or hold. So, let's kind of get into it. So, Nia Jax is going to be a WWE Women's Champion by the end of this year. Honestly, this is going to be kind of difficult. Um, I'm going to I'm going to buy it. I'm going to buy it right now. Right now, they kind of found themselves a nice little kind of like Becky Lynch is kind of like not like she
Bye, bye,
can't
bye, bye.
hold the company or the show together. But I just feel like with Rhea Ripley still lurking in the background, I feel like she's the next one up, Nia Jax, because and especially with Bayley, like love Bayley, love her as a babyface, but they kind of have Bayley as a champion. I don't think they're going to give her a long run. And honestly, Nia Jax right now, she's deserved a title run for the longest time. Absolutely 110%. She deserved a title run like yesterday or last year or maybe like 5 years ago. But WWE never pulled the trigger because much like kind of like, and I'm not trying to be a jerk, but kind of like those like the bigger superstars and like, Keith Lee kind of dealt with this. Braun Strowman, Eric Rowan, Luke Harper, like when kind of like bigger superstars, like, when they can't I don't know. I feel like when you hold a championship, you kind of have to have that thought in viewers' minds that this person could possibly lose. Kind of like with the whole Gunther thing. Like, I think he's a good champion. But honestly, like these guys, like Nia Jax and Rhea Ripley, they dominate other superstars to the point where, like, anybody defeating them, you're like, no way, that's not going to happen. And when it does happen, you're not really that happy about it. You're like, kind of like, that's, that was, that's how you know that wrestling's, a little choreographed and stuff like that. No, but like, that's the realism of a WWE fan. So honestly, I think that, I love Nia Jax. I hope in the future that she keeps killing it. But yeah, I really think that she's going to I don't know. I don't think it's gonna really last. But all right, so next we have the Bloodline recently drafted to the WWE Smackdown. It's gonna be pretty awesome. I'm going. Oh, man, will the Bloodline hold a Silver War at WrestleMania? But then it's like it depends on Roman. It honestly depends on Roman. The Rock is going to be done filming his movie, so honestly, I'm definitely going to 110%. Obviously, you guys probably could have, picked my answer, but I'm gonna
Hold,
hold here.
please.
I'm definitely gonna hold. Next we have AJ Styles beating Cody Rhodes at Backlash, winning the WWE Undisputed Champion. And this one's probably the most obvious one here, guys. And honestly, I think it would be absolutely, redonkulous to have AJ Styles win, especially so early. He's a talented superstar, and I really, really hope that the WWE kind of, keeps him on. But ultimately, I feel like he deserves one championship. I don't know if he's the next guy to defeat Logan Paul. Honestly, that's where I would really go with that. But AJ Styles, you want to keep him around because if he goes to AEW, he's gonna make waves. He's gonna make waves. That's definitely gonna be something that Tony Khan's gonna pick up on. So to be brutally honest, I think that AJ Styles should get a title run. Cody Rhodes' title, that's a different story. That's a different story. All right, next we have the LA Knight finally wins a championship at SummerSlam. Like I said before, I think that he will be a champion one day. Getting drafted to SmackDown, I thought he would have been better at Raw fighting Sami Zayn, but I don't know. Now he's going out there fight the megastar, which would be pretty cool. But I know like they're holding it at in Ohio, Cleveland, Ohio, and I know that's Logan Paul's like main city, and it seems like whenever superstars are at their main city, they kind of win. Or maybe no, but then maybe he's gonna find his way to claw his way up through the rankings to fight Cody Rhodes for the championship. And in that case, I would no way shape or form think that he's ready to hold a championship.
Sell.
I'm gonna have to sell this one, guys. I don't think it's legible that he becomes a champion. Love the guy, absolutely love his what he's doing in wrestling right now. But ultimately, I think the LA Knight is he's more of like I don't want to say like Sami Zayn or like in Logan Paul's like area because I don't want to diminish any of their values. But I don't know. He's more in that boat that's not yet ready to be contender. Obviously, he lost against AJ Styles, but I think he makes a way. He makes a way to to fight again. So yeah. All right, next we have Bianca Belair. Bianca Belair will be WWE Women's Champion. Well, not will have to be against Bayley before Survivor Series. Before Survivor Series, obviously Survivor Series is in November. So honestly, I think it'd be better for WWE to do so. Maybe they can find a way where they kind of have kind of like it, but you know what? I'm
Buy.
I think I'm gonna buy it. I like this storyline of perhaps maybe Jade and Bianca dethroning the Kabuki Warriors for the women's tag team titles. Something goes south. They eventually, kind of fight against each other. Bianca Belair becomes the WWE Women's Champion and, fights against Jade Cargill at one of the biggest pay-per-views in WWE, history. So, wouldn't surprise me if that happened. All right, next, Carmelo Hayes absolutely did really well on Smackdown. Was so proud that he challenged Cody Rhodes. But I know it's been rumored a lot saying that Carmelo Hayes will dethrone Cody Rhodes at WrestleMania 41. And it was kind of, I read that and I was a little, speculated. Of course, I saw it on it popped up on like a Reddit board. So I was like, oh, that's pretty crazy to talk about. I don't want to sell him short. So, I'm going to, I love the
Hold,
superstar.
please.
I love this guy. I'm going to say hold. I'm not completely selling it or ruling it out that he's going to become a WWE Undisputed Champion just yet. Against Cody Rhodes at Mania with so many other storylines, projected. I think that Carmelo Hayes eventually will be a champion. I hope he's the one to dethrone Logan Paul at SummerSlam. I think that'd be pretty cool. Carmelo Hayes is like really flashy. He's very, very like in your face, and he's kind of like he was NXT's like Logan Paul. So honestly, that match between the two would be an absolute killer. Would be pretty dope to see. So yeah. So hope you guys like my WWE drafted stars, buy, sell, or hold. We are rapidly running out of time. So to get into my next segment, we're going to talk about former WWE general managers. So hey, don't go anywhere.
For the best and latest podcasts available anywhere, go to the podcast app on your cell phone and type in GSMC to access free content-rich podcasts on health and wellness, book reviews, sports, entertainment, relationships, social media, movies, technology, finance, and even weird news. Subscribe and download the GSMC Podcast Network's family of shows, available everywhere podcasts are found.
All right. Welcome back to the GSMC Wrestling Laureate Podcast, brought to you by the GSMC Sports Network. I'm your host, Eric. Just to kind of reflect on what we talked about our WWE Smackdown review, our WWE Raw preview. We also talked about our WWE drafted superstars, potential storylines, potential title runs, et cetera, et cetera. I know I only did the Smackdown side. I wanted to do the Raw side, but damn draft. The dang the dang WWE draft got to me, and I went a little overboard with it. So, running out of time. So let's go ahead and talk about this. Carmelo Hayes, the man. No, I'm just kidding. No, it's not about the next segment. We're going to talk about just former general managers. First, let's talk about John Laurinaitis. John Laurinaitis was on SmackDown from 2012 from April 2012 to June 2012. Obviously, they didn't think of him that highly So he was only general manager for a little while. But I remember when he was the general manager, it was actually, it was during the whole John Cena era kind of thing. And I knew John Cena was kind of like that, like you saw John Laurinaitis come out white collared, kind of a, I don't want to say that word, kind of a jerk. Okay, yeah, I think that works. Kind of a jerk. And John Cena comes out representing the blue collars, and he's like, "Hey, like we're the real like reason why our society is stimulating the economy and this and that and the other." So I thought that was pretty cool. Definitely a nice little kind of a nice little way to kind of get into that. Talking about John Laurinaitis. All right. Next, we have Daniel Bryan. Daniel Bryan is an amazing. I thought he was great. I thought he was great. He was on SmackDown for 2016 and 2018. Definitely one of the reasons why I got back into wrestling. I took a little wrestling hiatus, but when I came back, it was exactly in 2016. It was in 2016. I started watching wrestling again, and I even have a poster on my wall of my favorite era. Well, not favorite era, but what kind of made me fall back in love. You saw Dean Ambrose there, John Cena, AJ Styles, all on SmackDown, the Usos, The Miz, and it was just, I don't know, it was just something new, something fresh. And I was used to kind of seeing, the same product over and over again. So I kind of like took a step away from WWE. But after watching a couple events, I eventually wound up as your GSMC Wrestling Laureate. Definitely happy that it happened. I'm here. So next we're gonna talk about Paige. Paige was a great. I thought she was pretty cool, but she lasted in SmackDown from April 2018 to December 2018. A little short, but ultimately she had that injury and she couldn't come back. A lot of people like wanted her to come back into the ring, but it was just too much stuff. Eventually, essentially she had to move away from WWE to get her singles career back in order. And lo and behold, she's on AEW and she's one of the huge wrestlers there. I thought so. I'm absolutely happy for Paige. I think she was great as the GM. Yeah, I think Paige deserves some recognition. And just honestly, like I said before, I really honestly like the job that Nick Aldis is doing of staying out of the storylines. Definitely the Paul Levesque era kind of thing. Paul Levesque said himself that he will never, ever, ever kind of insert himself into a storyline, kind of what Vince McMahon loved to do on and off. One of the reasons why we loved Vince McMahon and part of the reasons why we hate him was because he just kind of came in and he did whatever the hell he wanted. He was like, all right, I'm gonna start a storyline with this person. And we would be like, all right, let's see this old guy, taunt more people, let's see him fight D-Generation X with his son Shane and the Spirit Squad. And don't get me wrong, entertaining as hell. Absolutely entertaining as hell. But sometimes it does get a little, it does get a little repetitive. It gets a little repetitive, and wrestling fans, I don't know, they just we want to see something different. Next, we're talking about Paul Heyman. Paul Heyman, SmackDown general manager, 2003 to 2004. Ultimately, I felt like he was kind of let go because the direction he was taking the company. Like I said before in a prior podcast, that Vince McMahon kind of liked having control over his general managers, and it's not like he didn't have control over Paul Heyman, but it's like Paul Heyman kind of wanted to have its own product in ECW, wanted to keep certain superstars and stuff like that. Back in 2008, where he would wind up as the general manager again. But I don't know, it just something that when you kind of see like talent kind of go somewhere else or like have different views, you butt heads and stuff like that, and ultimately that kind of led to why Paul Heyman is not a general manager. But definitely might be one in the future. Definitely might be one in the future. That'd be pretty cool. Next we have Teddy Long. I want to say Theodore Long, but I was like, yeah, that's correct. That's being polite. But I like Teddy Long because it's just Teddy Long. He used to be a referee in the WWF. Eventually made it up to general manager status. Definitely, he had a catchphrase of "Tonight you're going to fight the Undertaker," and everybody's like, "Oh my God!" That's kind of like a meme that's going on. Absolutely, like that's been going on for just ages ever since it started. So Teddy Long's favorite wrestler, obviously, is probably the Undertaker. So Theodore Long, absolutely pretty cool. He was the SmackDown GM from 2004 to 2007, and then he had a second try at it from 2009 and 2012. So absolutely love Theodore Long. He's the Mac Daddy. Next, we're going to talk about Vicky Guerrero. I so lament I only kind of put her on this list because she was Eddie's wife. The way she kind of was inserted into the storylines and how she had romantic, like that's kind of like I'm like, all right, like that's I guess in a way she kind of kept the business going aspect, um, but I don't want to sound mean. I don't want to be like, you know what, she never should have been on wrestling at all after Eddie passed. But like I said, I don't, mean to rattle any doors or anything like that. But honestly, that's what I think. But ultimately, people have different opinions. All right, next we have Kurt Angle. Kurt Angle, the man, the Olympic gold medalist. He was a general manager. He was a general manager through the whole, trying to push Roman Reigns, and that didn't really work out. A lot of fans like booed Roman's matches. I went to a live event. I think I went to WWE No Mercy at the Staples Center. Well, when it was the Staples Center. And I remember seeing that match. I think he fought Braun Strowman or something like that. And ultimately, everybody was booing. Everybody knew that they had their plans with Roman and didn't really move on. Next, we have William Regal. William Regal was the Raw general manager from 2007 to 2008. And honestly, it's better known and it's kind of better off that he found himself, a calling in NXT. To be honest, 1,010%. He was better as an NXT general manager than he was on, on Raw, Monday Night Raw, or just something in general. So honestly, not that I hate seeing, not that I hated William Regal, because William Regal was one of the, when he came into the WWE, from like he was like this new European superstar, super awesome, seemed like didn't necessarily kind of have the same body type as everybody else. You still like kind of rooted for him because he was like kind of like that born underdog, but he found success in NXT, so good for him. Next, I kind of, just to kind of hit on real quick, talk about we had AJ Lee. AJ Lee was a dominant Divas champion. I think. I don't want to. Don't quote me on this. No, I don't think it was Nikki Bella who dethroned her. But yeah, anyways, she was good. She was good. Definitely one of those, one of those examples of why you don't really want to insert the Raw general manager or SmackDown general manager into any like storylines. Like it was entertaining, it was cool and all, but honestly, I just think that wrestling's kind of over that. And I really hope that I think the numbers are great in terms of viewership, and I hope they don't go back to that. But if they do, I don't really know how you can see Nick Aldis or Adam Pearce kind of inserting themselves into the storyline. But I could be wrong. Absolutely 110% could be wrong. But yeah, honestly, I don't see something like that happening. Loved AJ Lee. I loved her as a superstar. I loved her as a wrestler. But as a general manager, I thought it was a little like, okay. Next, we have this man. This man, Eric Bischoff of the WCW, coming to his rival, the company that he absolutely dreaded, the WWE. I thought I watched this episode of Raw where it was announced, and I was in complete shock. Complete shock. I was like, but then again, like, it's not really shocking because of how Vince was and kind of how like he wanted to kind of portray like WWE or WWF being the dominant brand and defeating WCW. It's like, yeah, I beat you. Now I'm your boss. And I feel like that's kind of like was one of the huge main reasons why Eric Bischoff was like kind of signed for Vince's ego aspect, because like the moment Eric Bischoff started making creative moves and started pushing the limits in terms of Monday Night Raw, like Vince didn't like it. And like I said before, him and Heyman were canned. Him and Heyman were canned because they had different ideologies of how they wanted to have WWE. Definitely needed some creative input at that point, but Vince McMahon, stubborn as he is, that's just Vince. Next up, we're going to talk about Adam Pearce. Like I said before, I want to throw flowers on Adam Pearce because I really like how he's not really trying to become a part of the show. I think that part of wrestling is over. And I know I sound like a broken record here talking about this because I think it's just so damn important. It's so damn important having your managers and having your bosses come in and just do whatever the hell they want on the chosen promotion. It's not good. It's not good. I don't like the way that it was back in the day. And to be brutally honest, if it ever happens again, you can bet that you will see a decline in your viewership, ratings, TV ratings, ticket sales, merchandise sales, et cetera, et cetera. And, I hope that it never goes back that way. Next, we're going to talk about Mick Foley. Mick Foley has been probably the biggest WWE underdog in history. He has the four personas as Mick Foley, Mankind, Cactus Jack, and Toodalove. Like, you love this man. I love this man. I love seeing Mick Foley, but it just sucks that he constantly got his ass kicked by Triple H. At Royal Rumble, No Way Out, WrestleMania, you name it, it happened. So, obviously they were probably pushing Triple H at that moment, but you got to respect Mick Foley and all the sacrifice he's put into the company. You can't really tell the story of the Attitude Era without Mick Foley. Like, he did so many good stunts with the Undertaker. Obviously that Hell in a Cell where he flew and Jim Ross was like, he's dead, he's gotta be dead. Like, it was just like something like totally exciting. So Mick Foley just he deserves, he was Raw commissioner for a little bit, but he deserves he deserves some flowers. He deserves some flowers. All right, next you have Stone Cold. When he retired, officially, getting hurt with this whole neck injury and stuff like that, having to get surgery. WWE kind of didn't want to part ways with Steve Austin too long. They did for a little while, but ultimately bringing him back, were kind of like coined that what phrase. This is kind of how this is the what's. You know how Daniel Bryan has the yes movement. This is kind of like the start of the what, 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 what. This is how it all started. Stone Cold Steve Austin coming back, giving the WWE a second, kind of like, not, I want to say second because I know he had his past like career, basically, for him to kind of be on the main stage and making him co-general manager of Monday Night Raw with Eric Bischoff. I thought this was pretty cool. It was funny. They made a rivalry out of it where eventually they would have to fight each other at the 2005 2003 Survivor Series between Team Bischoff and Team Austin. So I think it is. I think it was 2005. Don't quote me on that. But so ultimately, it was kind of cool to see how he kind of pissed him off. So we love Stone Cold because of the way he can rattle up the fans and rattle up WWE management, and just basically what entails of having the Texas rattlesnake on any given wrestling show. So definitely loved seeing him in that little feud with Eric Bischoff. It was about time because when WWE Invasion happened, the whole reason why WWE lost was basically it was like based on like some of the betrayal of Stone Cold Steve Austin. So, and Stone Cold Steve Austin didn't care. For him, it was like it was like a huge like, I don't want to do the middle bird, but that's what Stone Cold Steve Austin does. It was like a huge, like kind of like a screw you to Vince McMahon ultimately, but I don't know how he created some pretty good drama there. It's pretty good drama. So that's my show, guys. Hope you guys liked it. Hope you guys are enjoying Monday Night Raw tonight. But eventually, all good things must come to an end. But don't worry, I'll be back tomorrow, same time, 8 p.m. at the GSMC podcasting network or the GSMC Sports Network. But thank you for tuning in to the GSMC Wrestling Laureate Podcast presented by the GSMC Sports Network. Your support means a lot to us, so please remember to Superman punch that like and subscribe button to the show and leave a positive review. It really goes a long way, guys. A kind gesture changes the world one day at a time. We love peace, love, and positivity at the GSMC Sports Network, and podcasting network in general. So remember, we also invite you guys to follow us on Facebook, Twitter /X, TikTok, and Instagram for more content and updates. Like I said before, if I haven't made you a wrestling fan by now, we have other podcasts. We have Nelson on basketball. The NBA playoffs are, crucially heating up. And of course, with the NFL draft recently happening, we have a couple of football podcasts with Manny, the Chip Shot Football Podcast. We also have Kenneth on the football podcast, GSMC Sports Network. So, if you want to find the new download of what happened at the draft and kind of like the grades, kind of where your team is heading for next season and what to expect, remember to hit up those shows. Absolutely. They're dynamite shows, guys. Here at the GSMC podcasting network, we do a lot of podcasts, definitely, high quality, good entertainment. And we're just, we're the bloodline of podcasting. No, definitely would love to see you guys, join the fray, join the movement. It's going to be awesome. So, once again, hope you guys had an amazing weekend. Hope you guys, were pretty, not sufficient. Pretty, you know how a lot of people usually work 9 to 5 jobs, Monday through Friday. So then they're like, you know what? I'm going to use this to be productive. So, I hope you guys had a productive weekend. Hope you guys are smiling and hope you guys are happy. Thank you once again and have a phenomenal day.
Let's go. I wake up to a little bit of drool on my pillow, feel like it's gonna be a bad day. Yeah, I'm tired of shit, and the coffee ain't hit yet, damn, ain't that great. I don't wanna go to Let's go. I wake up to a little bit of drool on my pillow, feel like it's gonna be a bad day. Yeah, I'm tired of shit, and the coffee ain't hit yet, damn, ain't that great.